Welcome back to Traveling Dice. I'm Jason. I have Scenario 3, Match 2 of our Path to Glory campaign, where Esmund the Foul is leading the Nurgle warband against the Tzeentch warband. Now, at this time in the campaign, the Tzeentch warband is probably the most powerful warband in the group. He has a champion that is just loaded out. He has extra arm. He's re-rolling to hit rolls in the first round of combat. He is now a level 1 wizard with Infernal Gateway. He has regen. He has 4 attacks. He's strength 6, toughness 5, 3 wounds. He picked up the demon weapon. This guy kind of does it all. He's a wizard. He's great in combat. He has a throwing axe. He is just really scary. In addition to that, the Tzeentch warband has a sorcerer who's on the Lore of Metal, who is typically taking the signature spell, Searing Doom, which is great against armor, and the champions tend to be running around with lots of armor, and of course your Chaos Warriors and the such are also running around with a ton of armor. So I've got my work cut out for me here. This is a real Cinderella story, and I'm still licking my wounds from fighting the Khorne warband at the last battle. This particular scenario is a breakthrough scenario where one player is the attacker. They get to go first, which is nice. They have to deploy all their army, which is not so nice, before any of their enemy units are deployed. So that's rough, but getting to go first is pretty good trade-off, I suppose. So I have a pretty compact warband. I decided to deploy in a corner here, and I have my Chaos Warriors on that extreme left flank. They have great weapons, except for the one guy in the center there has a flail. I have my Plague Bearer. I put my champion in with my troll. Now, this is strategic. I'm looking at that Searing Doom spell. The Searing Doom spell is great against my champion. Searing Doom essentially wounds based off of the target's armor save. So my champion has a 2-up armor save, which means Searing Doom is going to wound on a 2+. And then in addition to that, you don't get armor for Searing Doom saves. So I'm only going to have my 5-up board. So Searing Doom can just off my guy, like right off the bat. The nice part is when he's in a unit with the troll is that I can allocate some of the attacks, at least half, probably 50% plus 1, onto the troll. And the ones that I place onto the troll, because the troll's not wearing armor, he won't take any damage at all. So it's a way of kind of mitigating that. I also have the 5-up ward. So I'm in there with a puncher's chance, but Searing Doom is a real threat to my guy. My opponent then deploys after me. He's got some Marauders there opposing my Chaos Warriors there on that flank. He also has some Warhounds and a unit of Chosen. So the Chosen's a threat. The Marauders, I've got to be honest, I don't have a ton of respect for the Marauders. Even with flails, the toughness 3, I know they can do some damage with the flails, but I don't think these guys actually had flails. So without the flails, I really have no respect for Marauders at all. And then on the hill are the really threatening things from my opponent's warband, specifically his champion and the sorcerer. He has also added a beautifully painted Chaos Troll to his warband, which I hope looks great in his dead pile. So as the attacker, I get to go first, which is nice. I do a cautious move forward here, and I'm anticipating doing some charges in turn 2, and I'm sort of bracing for impact for this magic phase that's going to be coming up in my opponent's turn. With my single Chosen, I do turn him and just run him towards the Chaos Warriors, thinking, hey, he can flank up that extreme left flank while hopefully my champion's just raising hell in the center. My opponent moves up pretty cautiously as well, and we go over to his magic phase, and I am just sort of clutching my pearls here. He rolls the Winds of Magic. He gets a 5 and a 3. All right, not terrible. I'm going to get 5 Dispel dice. He doesn't channel, which is nice. So I'm looking at 8 power dice versus 5 dispel dice. Now, at this point in this situation here, my opponent has 2 spells. I should be able to stop one of them, right? And my opponent's going to get one through. I'm just going to have to eat one of these 2 spells. In my mind, I want to eat Gateway, right? Gateway is a huge threat to, potentially my Chaos Warriors. They're going to take that damage on a 4+, but you know what? The 4+ is not bad. It could be bad against my champion, but Gateway, you're rolling randomly the strength, you're rolling randomly the number of hits. If you flub one of those 2 rolls, it really is going to do a small amount of damage. Now, I know on average, you're going to do strength 7 hits, which is pretty devastating. But, I'm looking at Gateway as the better option, which speaks pretty loudly here to the threat Searing Doom is facing. My opponent starts off with Searing Doom. He throws 4 dice at it. I forget exactly the number that he gets. It's kind of an average number. And I take all 5 of my Dispel dice and I throw those 5 Dispel dice at it. And I just flub that roll and I fail to dispel Searing Doom. He puts 2 wounds on my Warband champion. And my guy's down to 1 last wound. And I'm also looking at the barrel of Gateway here. And then he throws the other 4 dice at Gateway. He gets it off. There's nothing I can do about it. This one's on the Chaos Warriors, and he just mows down that unit. This is just a horrifically bad start. In my subsequent turn 2, I move my Troll with my Warband champion up towards my opponent's center line there. I am eyeing getting into combat, hopefully by turn 3 here. Sadly, it seems like combat is the safest place to be in the battlefield here, with all this magic being slung around. In my opponent's turn, he is counter positioning. He's got his Troll right in my face of my unit champion and my Troll, which is, okay. I'm feeling pretty good about that fight, but there are better options probably. We go over to the magic phase, and I kind of luck out here. My opponent rolls a massive amount of power dice, 10 power dice, but it's a 6 and a 4, so I do have 6 dispel dice. So my opponent recognizes that I have a lot of dispel dice, so he throws a huge number of dice at Searing Doom, which I let through. He gets a big number. I'm like, I'm just going to try to mitigate this with the Troll and my 5-up ward, and he only rolls 3 hits, and I put 2 on the Troll, which is just a wash, and then I make that ward save. So Searing Doom actually doesn't do any damage this round, and then I dispel Gateway. So I managed to navigate this magic phase much better than I did the first one, fortunately. If I hadn't, the battle probably wouldn't be continuing here. But we go over to my turn. We go over to the top of my turn, and I have 2 charges here. One is from my Warband champion, Esmund the Foul, and I actually have just the angle to hit the sorcerer in the tower, tucked away there, can just barely clip that building, but I get in there, and I have been waiting the whole campaign to pound this guy's face, and I am so giddy and excited. I make that charge. I also send the Plague Bearer in on the Marauders. Now, 1 Plague Bearer versus 5 Marauders, I'm asking for a lot here. But, the way this battle started out at this point, I kind of need a miracle. So get in there, Plague Bearer. We go over to combat. The Plague Bearer whiffs his attacks and just gets planted here. He's dead. Not great. But now it is time. It is time. It is time. Worth the price of admission. I have been waiting for this moment the entire campaign to get my hands on this sorcerer, and finally Esmund the Foul dismounts, goes into that building, he spits, he takes his giant great weapon, and he just chops this guy down. The sorcerer is dead, thank goodness. Hopefully he fails his survival check and is really, really dead. We go over to my opponent's turn here. He's kind of maneuvering around. No charges for him this round. He is positioning his champion so they can throw an axe at mine, just right at my side here. So although it looks like we're in combat right now, we're not. And he's just throwing an axe. Fortunately, my opponent has a lackluster magic phase here. He rolls Snake Eyes for the Winds of Magic and then fails to cast Gateway. With the 2 dice, rolls Snake Eyes for the casting, which is just great. He fails to kill me with the axe, and I am still alive. On my turn, I maneuver my Warband champion around for some subsequent charges, positioning my Troll for subsequent charges as well, and continue to maneuver that Chaos Chosen. These are the only 3 models I have left here, so it is slim pickings. On my opponent's turn, he charges my Troll with his Troll. I'm feeling, okay about that. It's kind of a fair fight. I'm getting flanked, which is less than desirable. He maneuvers some of his other units to counter the Chosen, and he positions his Warband champion to cast Gateway and throw an axe at my champion. Not much of a surprise here. During the magic phase, he does get Gateway off. It does kill my guy, which is really brutal, but, you can only dodge that magic for so long. So my unit champion goes down, and then the Troll gets bested by his Troll. I'm down to just my chosen. I'm forced to rout. Game over. Match 2, loss. This has been a brutal round here for me so far. I had the loss against the Corn 2, pretty devastating. And I'm kind of looking at the campaign right now. I'm like, oh, can I just fail my way to victory here? Because the campaign ends with a mega group battle. And, maybe if I limp in with the weakest warband, I can somehow just be the last man standing. But probably not the best strategy, but it might be where I'm at this point. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed this battle report. And yeah, see you for the third match here pretty soon.